Top rating agency comes out today with breaking news saying that the housing market is in serious trouble for 2024. We are actually going to see a nationwide aggregate of all existing homes are going to fall in 2024. This is a prediction I've not seen from Redfin. I don't know that they've predicted this for an annual basis move for all houses in probably a decade or more. Let's jump into the data, folks. Predictions. Redfin predicts 2024 will be the year that homebuyers catch a break with home prices falling and new listings rising. So look at this, folks. Prediction number one, home prices will fall by 1%. Now, before you get stressed as a buyer, before you get super excited as a seller, you got to understand this. The marketplace treats each area differently, okay? So you're going to have areas that are doing great. There's areas that are going to over-index in the suffering. For the fact that the entire marketplace, even though it sounds insignificant, that 1% is all it's going to lose, you understand that even with the best, most somehow seemingly still affordable marketplace, the marketplace as a whole across the board is going to lose value. Now, you got to understand, deflation is what's important here. And the big movers can suffer big whenever the marketplace starts to shift. So there's going to be a lot of balanced markets that stay at zero, that lose maybe 1%, but you're going to have a lot of folks. Look at this. Even in this market, when we were up, we came to the end up 3%, a positive 3. You got a place like Las Vegas that lost 5%. So you understand, they're not down 5, they're performing 8% below the economy at large. If Las Vegas performs 8% below the economy at large in a marketplace that loses 1%, it's going to be down 9%. Look at the Villages. The Villages underperformed, okay? It's down almost 4% year over year for last month, for October, okay? So if the Villages underperforms on the year by, this is a 7% run. So the market's up on the average 3, Villages down 4. That's a 7% differential against the economy. So if you are down 1 across the board and the Villages is under by 7, you get the idea. You got to understand this. This matters across the market. You have areas like Austin, Texas, for instance, that lost something like 10% this year over year, if you're looking at its October numbers. You have marketplaces north of Sacramento that are struggling year over year. You have areas in the north like Idaho, Montana. So all these areas are going to be treated differently. So don't think that, okay, this just means we're all going to lose 1% as a market. No, this means that the economies that suffered the most run up in price could over-index and actually see significant averages really change, okay? So understand that. What they're saying is we're going to end at 3% end of this year, okay? So look at this bar graph. 3% up in price at the end of 2023 for the year, all homes, U.S. Then it's going to be flat in the first quarter, and then it's going to hold down 1% and possibly make up some of that in the end and break to 0%. But they're saying overall, we're going to see spring and summer down, because what they're saying is homes are going to be listed and there's no buyers for them, okay? More listings, less buyers, that's going to maintain. So the prediction number 2 they make is that new listings will tick up. So they're saying home price will rise, or home prices will fall because supply is going to rise and there's not going to be buyers to absorb them, okay? So this is obvious. Prediction number 3, home sales will increase towards the end and be up 5% over 2023. So 2024, we're going to sell a little bit more homes. Okay, they're thinking we're going to end at 4.5 million homes. This year, they're projecting we're going to end around 3.8 mil, and that's not good. Like a normal existing home sale year, we're selling 5.5 million homes, folks. That means we're not going to be back. It means next year is going to be slow. We are going to be beneath the mark. Homes aren't going to sell, and a lot of areas are going to see a substantial increase in listings. We're going to hit pre-pandemic levels, and folks, the marketplaces that hit pre-pandemic listing volume, meaning, you know, their volume of listings tanked, and then they're going to come back and be like, it's 2018 again in terms of how many homes you can choose, because there's signs out there, there's no buyers. And folks, you got to understand, the market you're in is already close to pre-pandemic. Your market is poised to get pinched, hammered on price coming into the summer of next year. It's going to happen in Florida for sure. because nationwide is still, there's a good gap that's still short on listings. Okay, if you look at the entire country, it's 40% below what it was in 2018, 2019. It's pre-pandemic. It's way off quite a bit for US, but Florida, not so much. Florida across all categories, only off 15%. So Florida is very close. It's a huge number of listings. A lot of areas in Florida are actually at pre-pandemic levels, and the brakes are getting hit in those markets. Prices are getting slapped. And it's going to get worse because you got to understand, something that it mentioned up here is that we saw listings tick up in the fall. So we saw listings go up when they weren't supposed to go up. November is not supposed to see a jump in listings. October, we're not supposed to see listings climb, but we did because buyers weren't buying. And so, and at the same time, sellers were actively saying, I need to get out, and that was a problem. So they were basically leaving the market. So let's look at this. So prediction number 4, mortgage rates will steadily decline, but remain above 6. All right, so they're going to say that we're going to end around 7.3%. And again, before you glaze over, like, why are we looking at interest rates, folks? Until these rates either go way down below 6 or home prices go way, way down. Like, home prices have to roll back like 2 years worth of price increase for buyers to get back in with the rates the way they are. Now, I got to tell you, folks, you aren't going to like what I'm about to say, but the reality is, I don't think it matters if rates go high or low, because we're going into the mother of all recessions, okay? We're going into the mother of all recessions. I don't care, what you hear on CNBC and all this, like, you can already see it, okay? The Bidenomics crew and all these guys in the White House, they keep announcing how great jobs are and how they're doing great, and then they reevaluate and they lower how many jobs we really increase, or they even change how many jobs are actually lost. And that's happened to the tune of 800,000 jobs this year. So there's been all these adjustments. And what we're finding now is that a lot of people, particularly the non-owner second home market, is now starting to massively shift, where people are making decisions to cut those houses loose. And we're seeing those hit the market, and that's going to become a problem first. But you got to understand, it doesn't matter. Even if you get to 6.5% interest, we're not. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, the interest rates are going to stay above 7, and you can mark this down. I think January to probably almost summer, probably April-ish, you're going to have 7.25, 7.5, and the market hates that. The buyers already are not in the market for that rate. They can't afford the houses. So you're going to see the sellers that get pinned against the wall from a financial standpoint. Those people are going to get
fired up and wired up.
They're going to
baby.
get fired up. They're going to have to sell the house, like Dave Ramsey just said. They're having to get out of the property. So prediction number 5, change will come to the real estate industry. This is good, right? So you've already seen, most of you folks know there were some lawsuits that came out, put a huge, huge damper, and buyers are going to win. Buyers are going to win. You're going to see things change. You're going to have people that are looking for a house are going to have to, they might have to consider paying for a buyer's agent, because the sellers are going to save more. They're not going to have to necessarily always pay the buyer's agent. Redfin is saying, hey, look, change is coming, because the fees that are going to be advertised, or the fees that people are going to be paying, is going to start to drop. Now, it'll be interesting year to see how much this change happens, because you're probably going to see people still be holding to paying the high 5 or 6% traditional cost of a commission, just because they need to get out of their house. But you're starting to see where, they say right here, in all reality, you might find that home buyers, look at this, rather than hiring their own agent, many home buyers may actually avoid that and actually work directly with a listing agent. And not to be too confusing, the point is, there's going to be a situation where sellers just may not want to pay the buyer's agent. Okay. And that's what they're saying, is that alone, think about that. And the average home price, if we start seeing commissions slide, where sellers are like, I'm not paying 6. There's a company that I follow called nestshare.com. Nestshare is actually listing for 3%. You're just paying to list your house. They'll do all the showings, and you don't actually have to do anything. You don't have to actually pay a buyer's agent. If the buyer wants to get paid, or buyer's agent wants to be involved, and a buyer wants help on that, they can hire someone. So you're starting to see those changes happen. Prediction number 6, renting will lose its stigma. This is a weird way to state it. It says demand for large rental apartments and houses will climb as more young families embrace the renter lifestyle. Dude, it ain't about the fact that people are going into rentals isn't because they magically lost their stigma. Like they have a stigma for they can't qualify for anything. That's the stigma. Like it's not that it's like this is the dream. You know, it's just so bizarre. We're seeing signs that young people are redefining the American dream. Baloney. This is what it is. The average age of a home buyer is 60. Like this is the problem. This is why you have to fix the economy. You can't allow 3 years of inflation. You can't allow prices of homes that go 90% up and not eat some of that back so that 30-year-olds can get into the economy again. Because, 2023, repeat buyers, 58. If you guys have watched any of my other videos, you know the median price is driving people out. And the other thing too, folks, I think you're gonna see a massive amount of apartments finished this year. So you're gonna see apartments that are actually gonna be developed. They're gonna be finished. They're coming into the market. You're gonna see multifamilies that have I believe the last 3 years, you're going to see a lot of multifamily that's been in the works coming. Apartment complexes, you've used to seeing them around your area, a lot more apartments are going to come open. At the same time, you have landlords forced out. They're like, I'm not keeping my house and I'm not renting it out anymore. I'm getting out as a landlord. So the landlords are putting their house on the market. The tenants have to leave a house rental to go into an apartment. So you're actually going to have an exodus from single family into apartments because landlords are going to be dumping their houses. The actual next marketplace, which is unfortunate because landlords, I mean, how many nice houses do you get from landlords? Okay, so if a landlord says, I'm not going to own this landlord, I'm not going to rent my house out anymore, I'm going to put it in the open market and sell it. I mean, are those awesome houses? Probably not. Like they're going to be the bread and butter, 3-2, 4-2 kind of thing. It's not like it's going to feed a large part of the market. It's not going to, which is kind of good. Maybe you're going to have the move up market. You're going to have people that have to sell. They're financially hurt. They got to get out of their house. They can't afford it anymore. They're dumping those and they're going to have to get rid of those too. But I don't know, maybe you'll have more stability because there's probably not a lot of competing landlords in those price ranges. But here's the deal. So you got the market, you got people basically saying there's going to be wait lists and there's going to be people kind of jumping into rentals. There's going to be certain demand because the Gen Xers, they need a single bedroom and stuff like that. But it goes into all that. Prediction number seven.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. Problem. I was going to foot.
Yes. Well said, Mr. President. Well said. So prediction number 7, Biden has a housing problem, which could hurt his re-election bid. Oh, no. So home prices are up 20% since Biden took office. And that's a problem for his re-election bid, the article says. That's not the problem, okay? The problem is the economy, right? The problem is the housing cost, the food cost, the everything else cost stacked together. And, it begs the question. Now, I don't like, as much as I will agree, this isn't a political thing, right? So don't get all mad. Biden supporters getting all pissed right now. Because Biden doesn't have, I don't think, a direct correlation to how housing works out, okay? In fact, I don't even want him to work his brain into trying to figure it out. Like, to me, government housing or government housing relating to each other, the idea that government tries to solve that will only muck it up. Okay, I'm convinced of that. I don't care who the president is. I don't like when Republicans come out. Ron DeSantis parked a whole bunch of cash, I think, for affordable housing. I'm not excited about that because I don't think that's how you create affordable housing. Like there's other back end issues. And I won't belabor the point, but I'm saying on this particular point, it is fascinating because if you look at the rate that the interest rates were cut, or actually they were raised. So the Federal Reserve has been working off of the Biden administration's job data, which has been flawed. So Biden's administration produces information to the central bankers, in order to, and they keep slowing the economy down. So through the summertime, you might have seen me report on this. They kept raising the rates. They kept hammering the job market and just dumping cold water on it through increased higher rates and it's not fully played out yet. Like you still have 3.9% unemployment per today, the update that came out. So it's still low, but it's jumped in 4 months. Okay. So it went from 3.5 to 3.9 pretty fast. They say when it gets to 4, it's a 0.5% jump in this short amount of time. We're supposedly in an official recession.
Get fired up and wired up, baby.
And that's where the opportunities come from. I don't know. The point I'm making is it is fascinating that the Fed got data from the Biden administration, from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, which created a need for them to jack the rates up even further. So they would like, hey, this is how many jobs we were created or how many we lost. And there were close to 1 million jobs there was like 4 different revisions out of 5 job reports, 4 out of 5.